Hi. So, just like, disclaimer before we get into anything, my tits are just like not big enough for this dress. I'm gonna be like the entire time, so like let's not focus on my titties. So, let's get started. I received some of the best education in the ancient world, studied the works of the Library of Alexandria, spoke 7 languages, helped unify the 2 clashing ethnicities of the Egyptians and Greeks under me as their almighty ruler, with no uprisings, and was extremely cunning and intelligent. But because history is written by men, everyone's like, haha, she had boobs! Let's talk about what actually happened. I was born in 69 BCE to Ptolemy the 13th and some woman probably named Cleopatra. We don't even know who my real mom is, and she gets pretty much excluded from the narrative almost immediately after my birth. Also, Cleopatra is the name of Alexander the Great's sister, so that's why we keep getting all named that. And to be clear, I wasn't ethnically Egyptian at all. I was actually Greek, because Macedonian Greek Alexander had conquered Egypt 300 years prior. I was just kind of born into Game of Thrones, where family members fuck, marry, and kill each other. So as a child, I learned very quickly that I have to like stay woke and be guileful to survive. And yes, I did just use a $5 word because I had the best education that the ancient world could offer. I studied the works of Socrates, Plato, Herodotus, Homer, and Aristotle, all in the Library of Alexandria. I spoke 7 languages, and I was the first Hellenistic Egyptian ruler to actually learn Egyptian because I was actually invested in governing Egypt and creating a better empire for its citizens. When I was 11, my dad Ptolemy the 12th was exiled out of Egypt over some bullshit to Italy. I accompanied him there, and we bonded as much as a father and daughter who viewed all family members as rivals could. So when he died 3 years later, he made me co-ruler with my husband, who was my 11-year-old brother Ptolemy the 13th. I mean, it is pedophilia and incest, but like, it's not wrong if it's both of them. They like cancel each other out, right? Like PEMDAS? But our co-rule lasted like 5 seconds because then Ptolemy, or not even Ptolemy because he's 11, his advisors try to attack me and I have to flee to Syria. In Syria, like pacing back and forth, being like, oh, this 11-year-old is not about to outsmart me and get away with it. Meanwhile, Pompey the Roman general rolls up, and knowing that he's Caesar's rival, Ptolemy's like, I have a bright idea.
Let's stab him. Piece of our mind.
Caesar shows up, and they show him Pompey's decapitated head, and Caesar's just like, and is fuming, and has a bunch of Ptolemy's advisors murdered. He then turns to Ptolemy and is like,
how could you do this to me? Question mark.
And Ptolemy just goes,
I would never purposely hurt someone, ever. And I would obviously, if I knew that this was gonna be the outcome, like I would have never done something like this.
A messenger comes and tells me all this while I'm in Syria, and I start devising a concept of a plan. I first sent a representative to speak with Caesar in Egypt because that's safer than me going out there, obviously. But then once I find out he's inclined to having affairs with royal women and men, I'm like, okay, let's use this cookie to win back my country. So I sneak into the palace where Caesar is, and since I know how to make an entrance, I'm all like, no, I'm just kidding. I have to come in inside of a rug because I know it's still on site with my brother and me. So my whole idea coming in is like, if I play my cards and my cunt right, I can regain power from Egypt away from my husband and align myself with the most powerful man in Rome. So I enter the palace room, and then Caesar comes in a few hours later and sees me dressed to the nines. So this comes into like my issue with like unreliable narrators. Like, first of all, we are the only 2 people in the world that know what occurred in that establishment, but a bunch of male writers start all these rumors about me that I'm like a slut and I just give the cookie up to anyone who walks up to me. No, I didn't fuck Caesar immediately. My body is a temple. He was thoroughly impressed by my beauty and intellect. Also, like, remember, I was 21 and he was like 50 something. We just talked for hours and hours about our goals for the Mediterranean. I mean, like, I licked his penis a little bit, but like, besides that, Ptolemy, my brother, gets word that I'm both back in Egypt and talking to Caesar. So he tries to rouse Alexandria into a riot to fucking like riot against me so he could create a power vacuum and regain control. However, that backfires heavily in his face because when the Roman reinforcements come in, Caesar and I quell that shit real quick. And this time Caesar is like,
You dumb fucking bitch! I'm gonna fuck you! Fucking run away from me, you stupid bitch!
but instead of running upstairs, he runs into the Nile and drowns. Fuck you. Also around that time, towards the end of the war, one day, Caesar and I are just like shooting the shit, talking about life, and then I'm like,
Sorry, I should have known it.
Afterwards, we conduct a victory tour down the Nile with 400 ships in my pregnant ass. And then a few months later, in 47 BCE, I give birth to Caesarion, which literally means Little Caesar, because there is no question about who the father is. Also, now that I have a male heir, I have a direct line of succession to my throne for my legacy. And the fact that he's Caesar's son, that Caesar acknowledges as his own, helps solidify an alliance between Rome and Egypt, as well as solidify my own power to the throne. But because I'm a woman, history calls me some clandestine seductress doing some hoe business. But then when Henry VIII literally meant a whole new religion so we can fuck anything with a pulse, it's just like, sorry, my tits. In 10 months, I redirected Rome's most powerful man to reestablish my reign. I kill my competition, leave myself with an heir, and I maintained independence of Egypt, and Caesar gave me control of Cyprus, which he had annexed a decade before. Like, how, like... I'm a baddie. Okay. fucking titties. Oh my god, my tits! Also, Caesar installed a golden statue of me in the Temple of Venus, the Roman goddess of love, beauty, fertility, desire, and victory. Then when I came to Rome with our baby, he hosted Caesarion and me in a lavish palace across from the Tiber River where we dined in style every night. And I'm just waving at his wife Calpurnia being like, hi babe. I start also like high-key influencing Caesar with my cunning wit, but also at this time it's very clear that
this pussy be yanking, this pussy be yank. I know this pussy be yanking.
I'm using both my wit and my sexuality to influence him. But like guys, there's a lot of hot bitches out there. Caesar isn't just gonna build a statue of me because I'm hot, it's because he has great respect for me. So much so that after he meets me, he declares himself dictator for 10 years, erects a statue of himself in a temple of queerness in Rome, and he reforms the lunar calendar to match the Egyptian solar calendar, the one that y'all still use today, like July, that's him. So he's messing with time, aligning himself to be an emperor and a god, exactly how Egyptian pharaohs like me are viewed. Bitches start spreading all these rumors that he's becoming un-Roman because he's spending too much time with this Egyptian queen. I'm like, okay, racist. I clap back at them saying,
you are so jealous. You are just so jealous that you cannot get
an emperor,
and you're trying to ruin my moment for me.
So at the beginning of 45 BCE, I turned 25. I'm flying high with our baby and a close connection to the most powerful man in the world. That's all up until
March 14th. Wait, that's not right. It should say the day that
Caesar.
Fries.
So on March 15th, while I'm chilling, they murder Caesar, and some slave runs up and tells me. And then Rome erupts into chaos, and I know some extremist is gonna be gunning for me, so I grab Caesarion and I'm like,
We gotta go!
Get the tarnation back here, you city slicking son of...
okay, Cleo, let's think on our toes. How can I secure absolute power for myself?
Think.
I should murder my other brother. Making baby Caesarion and I co-rulers. So at my welcome home party with my brother and his advisors, I'm like, no, I'm just kidding, I just poisoned him. So then for the next few months, I'm just chilling in Egypt and everything's pretty stable now that all my brothers are dead. But then back in Rome, all hell is broken loose. And it's Mark Antony, Caesar's right-hand man, and Octavian, his grandnephew, who want to avenge my baby daddy, versus Brutus and Cassius, the murderers. Both sides ask for reinforcements, and you would think I'd immediately give stuff to Octavian and Mark Antony. But like, hot take, my #1 priority is and always has been Egypt's longevity. And yeah, I like Caesar, but like, and I don't know who's gonna win the civil war, and all I have to make sure is that Egypt is on the winning side. So both sides are asking for reinforcements, and I'm just like, new phone, who dis? Eventually and strategically, once I'm starting to deduce that Antony and Octavian are gonna be the winners, I send 4 ships to them and I gaslight Gatekeeper and Girl Boss, being like, I was on your side the entire time. What are you talking about? You're crazy. You're crazy. The civil war moves over to Macedonia, where Brutus and Cassius eventually die. Then Mark Antony after the war is just chilling in Turkey, and he keeps sending over letters saying, come to Turkey, I just want to talk.
What the fuck do you say to that? What the fuck do you say to that?
Also, let's assert dominance by ignoring him. Like, when a guy is interested in you and then he texts you, what are you gonna do, text him back immediately? Absolutely not. Like, girl, make him work for it. So I just keep saying nothing and ignoring him over like a month when he's sending like multiple letters. And then a month later, he sends over a human envoy and I'm like, okay, fine, I guess. So as I'm gearing up to go, I'm like, okay, let's think about this. Either Antony or Octavian are probably going to be the sole ruler of the okay, let's be honest, Roman Empire. Obviously, I'd rather align with Caesar's right-hand man. Would be much more keen to having Caesarion/me become emperor after his death rather than Octavian, an indirect descendant of Caesar, and someone who would definitely view Caesarion as a threat to his throne. Also, I had heard he had been prosecuting people who weren't fully supportive of him since the beginning. So if I came to Antony all meek and apologetic, I would be treated like every other dependent ruler in the East, someone to be ordered around, taxed, and used. I knew I needed to be viewed as a prize, a partner, and a power. Like, this is a whole production, girl. Like, you only have one chance to make a first impression, which is quite literally everything in this situation. And because I'm a woman, what's the most important thing right now?
Don't say your sexuality.
My sexuality.
Thank you, Jenna. I can't come in looking like I'm groveling. I have to come in looking like
Hand selected you because you're a baddie, like for him.
I need to look as hot and powerful as possible because I know that the fate of Egypt literally rests on my pussy. So I sail across the Eastern Mediterranean, and as our boat is arriving in Turkey, I'm like,
It's showtime!
so I sail in with my hottest male and female slave fanning me with palm leaves. I got the royal purple sails, stern covered in gold, rowers on silver-coated oars, flutes and lyres playing. I adorn myself in the most beautiful jewelry and garb. I'm enveloped in an aromatic sillage of lavender perfume. As I enter, it's just resplendent. The Turkish crowd on the beach goes buck wild. Oh my god. I'm just like, hi, yes, it's me, the human embodiment of Venus, Isis, and Aphrodite. Take your pick. But you can just call me Cleopatra, the people's princess. I can quite literally see Anthony not knowing what his next move is because he had no idea I was gonna enter like that. And with that kind of reaction from the Turkish crowd. So Anthony stammers all like, welcome, please come off your boat so you can like come to our palace and talk. And again, I'm asserting my dominance because I'm no weak, meek, feeble woman. I'm Isis, bitch. Don't clip that out of context. No, I'm not coming down off my boat. You come onto my boat.
I'm the captain now.
I send over a dinner invitation, which Anthony accepts. Because what's he gonna do? Say no to the goddess who already has all of Turkey on her side? So what followed was the first of many of my gaudy banquets. We're feasting lavishly, we're blacking the fuck out, we're partying. All the while I'm like, like surreptitiously gaining his trust so I can use him in the future. But to his face, I'm just like, I'm so fit right now, okay. So one night when we're drunk after we're giving him my Egyptian cookie, I'm like, you know what would be like so crazy and so funny right now? You'd be like super funny. It's like, what if you sent some guards to murder my sister Arsinoe? And then afterwards you pledged to help Egypt remain prosperous. And then he did. And then afterwards I was like,
Oh my god, you want 9 blowjobs right now?
and then he was all like,
let me nut in you and fucking let's keep it, like, you know?
I should also say Anthony laid the pipe down way better than Caesar. Oh my god. And like sometimes you're addicted to what's addicted. And later that year I gave birth to our twins named Cleopatra and Alexander because we're real creative with names. It was also because in that same year, Antony had married Octavian's sister Octavia to build a lasting peace and alliance between Octavian and Antony. But with both of those men having egos the size of the Great Pyramids, we all knew that shit wasn't gonna last. One of them was gonna have to be served a slice of humble pie the size of the Empire State Building, and that was gonna be Octavian. But like, yeah, Antony and Octavia got married and they piped like once, and then he was like, bye! And then he sent her back off to Rome to have her kid, and Antony and I chilled in Antioch for a few months. That's how iconic I am. His wife was the side chick. I will say also at this time, I'm starting to grow like a little fond of Antony. Like in Antioch, I took up some of his favorite pastimes, which were like playing dice and also drinking and like hunting game and also drinking and playing Roman chess and also like drinking. Did I say drinking yet? Also drinking. Yeah, we talked about our ambitions and we're pretty aligned on that. And one of the major contributors of a successful relationship is wanting the same things. At that point in our relationship, we had sort of turned into a celebrity couple, honestly kind of the first of its kind. We were primarily together for the sake of our brands.
Your brand? This is about
the future of Egypt.
This is not about your brand.
But there was some genuine love there. Over the next few years, we're still like hanging out, keeping it #cool and cash. In 37 BCE, he came to Egypt and met with me to obtain funds for his long-delayed military campaign into the Middle East. And I'm like, I'll give you the funds and have sex with you if you promise to expand Egypt's empire. His idea, decked out in deified garb, me dressed as Isis and him as Osiris, in front of a stadium full of people, he agrees to return much of Egypt's eastern empire and publicly names me the queen of Cyprus, Crete, Syria, and Lebanon, in addition to Egypt. I increased my empire by a third, and this was known as the Donations of Alexandria. And again, we piped so hard that night that I got pregnant with another son. And I travel with him as he starts his campaign towards Parthia. When we get to the Euphrates, I'm like, okay, babe, I have to head back to Egypt. But then like I kiss him goodbye, I'm like, break a leg, you're gonna do great, I have total faith in you. So I go back and I give birth to Ptolemy like fucking like 25 in 36 BCE. I thought shit was over 9 years ago during the Ides of March, but no, at that point I'm flying high. I'm 34. My boyfriend is taking over the Middle East, finishing what my ex-boyfriend started. I have 4 kids from 2 of the most powerful men in history. Egyptians love me because I speak their language, and I actually care about the well-being of my citizens and my empire. Like, I saved Egypt. I'm just like,
I must have about 1 million on me right now. And I ain't talking about that little Wayne record. Still a highest.
and then everything starts falling apart. Okay, so let's cut back a little bit to before the Donations of Alexandria, when Antony is going to take over Parthia. After I kissed him goodbye and went back to have the baby, the Parthian campaign was a fucking disaster for a bunch of reasons, and like all the primary sources have like different stories because all men do is lie. But like the main shit that I know is that Artasphides II of Armenia, whatever the fuck his name is, was supposed to be with us, but turned out he was a fucking fake ass Kardashian and defected to the Parthian side. So then after Antony's brutal defeat in the desert, who do you think he went back to? Rome, where his wife and his mortal enemy / brother-in-law are? Or Alexandria, where the baddest bitch in the Mediterranean and 3 of his kids are? Obviously Alexandria. So him chilling in Alexandria with me and him giving me and our children Cyprus, Libya, and Syria pisses Octavian and the Senate the fuck off. They viewed me as some like foreign master manipulator that's putting Antony under my spell. So basically they're mad at me because I'm intelligent, hot, and ethnic. Then Octavian starts tweeting up a storm of lies about me saying, Cleopatra manipulated Caesar into becoming tyrannical and is now manipulating Antony to fight for Egypt instead of Rome. Her African pussy has dark magic, we gotta save him. And then I respond with,
What the are you talking about? Sit the down.
And then he keeps tweeting, we must fight Egypt, avenge Rome, and rescue Antony from this foreign witch. Also, Antony,
You're a little bitch, dude.
and I first tweet back,
That's my husband. Oh yeah, go ahead. talk to my husband.
Okay, come on, hit me.
And then I tweet back, you don't give a fuck about Antony. You want to consolidate power for yourself. You don't give a fuck about the Roman Republic. You want a Roman Empire with you in charge. Who the fuck do you think you're lying to right now? And then he blocked me because he couldn't handle the truth. And then he goes on Instagram Live and it's like, I have Antony's will and here's what it says. Further land grants to Cleopatra's 4 children, including Caesarion. And upon Antony's death, his body should be buried in Alexandria. And then Antony goes on Instagram Live and is like,
You mother liar. I never said that. You're a liar. I never, ever said that. You're a liar. You're a crazy scumbag. Scumbag. Welcome back, scumbag.
So then Antony calls one of the Roman senators and is like, have him show the will like on live or to a senator or like to anyone else. He's fucking lying. Have it, get him second source. Like it doesn't say that. So then the Senate asks, hey, can we see the will? And Antony's like, but you don't trust me? What are you talking about? No, it says it. Well, no, it's me. No. And then he just doesn't show it to anyone because he's lying on her fucking name and spreading disinformation in order to gain complete power and speedrun fascism. Based on those lies, the Senate gives Octavian the power to strip Antony of his official powers and raise up an army to face us. So then Antony and I are like, oh fuck, okay, so then we travel to Athens. The entirety of the summer of 31 BCE, we're just like,
To the break of dawn, yo!
and then on September 2nd, our final battle, the Battle of Actium, starts. It's East versus West, Egypt versus Greece, Octavian versus Antony, winner take the Mediterranean. We're fighting for a bit on the water. At first it seems pretty evenly matched, but then I'm starting to realize that Octavian actually might win this whole thing. And I'm sitting there and I'm just like,
Why am I here? Stop it. Why am I here? Stop it. You're hurt. Why am I here?
and 3 of my ships dip out and make a beeline to Greece. And then Antony soon follows after us. Without us there, Octavian defeats the rest of our fleet at the Battle of Actium, and it's all over. We have a few more fights in the Eastern Mediterranean because I'm gonna put up a fight up till the end, but we kind of knew Actium was a nail in the coffin. I mean, snake in the basket. So when we finally get back to Alexandria, the love cloud is dissipated. Antony and I go our separate ways. As we know, it's a matter of time till Octavian conquers all of Egypt. I tried to raise up some of my fleet to get my family and me to India so we can just like regroup, but then one of Octavian's generals gets word and then destroys our fleet. And then exactly 11 months later, on August 1st, 30 BCE, Antony and Octavian fight, and Antony's fleet loses, and Octavian finally takes over all of Alexandria. I am livid at Antony. Like, I had known since Actium it was all over, but when it actually happened, like a 3,000 year dynasty gone like that. So Antony and I get in a fight, and at first we're like,
hate sex? Like a dead ass hate sex.
But then post-coitus, I look at him and I'm just like,
You're stupid. You're not smart. You're not smart.
But then after all that, I run into my palace and seal myself inside with my riches, children, and servants, and I'm not gonna let anyone take myself down but me. So I just have a messenger of mine tell Antony that I'm dead because I just need to deal with my own shit at this point. When Antony finds out, he's filled with despair and then tries to kill himself by falling on his sword and misses. You can repel him down to our palace, we can have like his last words together. And then with his last dying breath, he tells me to trust Gaius Proculius because he'll protect me. And like honestly on me for that point for believing a man and believing a man who can't even commit suicide correctly. Because like I do believe him conceptually, like it's like his dying words, you know? So then 2 hours after I trust Gaius to like protect me, he like opens a door and then Octavian repels down. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm so angry that I got naked. So Octavian comes in, seizes my 3 children with Antony, and I show no fear and say, I will not be paraded around like some little Arsinoe. And he said, don't worry, you'll stay alive. Yeah, that's not that great of a promise. What are you gonna do now that like you've taken over my kingdom? And he just goes,
Oof, you're so angry.
and then just like shoulder checks my ass and walks out. And then a spy comes up to me and tells me that in 3 days his plan is to take me and my 3 children with Antony to Rome. So then after the spy tells me that, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna stand 10 toes down on what I just said. I will not be paraded around like some little Arsinoe. I'm going out on my own accord. Octavian, you think I'm gonna be your little trophy for destroying a 3,000-year-old kingdom? Absolutely not. So the only way I can stealthily kill myself because Octavian wants me alive is I get my servant to sneak in an Egyptian cobra and a basket of apples. I scratch my arm so blood appears, and then I bring the cobra up and it like bites me in the arm. And then I die by my own accord. And then yeah, Octavian was probably pissed. I didn't win the war, but I won that battle. So the main thing that I want to say about all this today is that history is written by men and by the winners. Because I'm a woman, the narrative that Octavian started literally over 2,000 years ago, that I'm some evil vixen manipulating men for power, still persists to this day. Yeah, it's partially true, but also I'm a woman in a man's world. I had to use all the tools at my disposal to further the Egyptian empire, which included what, Jenna?
My sexuality.
And for the record, like I kind of won both times. Like the only reason like shit got fucked up for me was because Caesar was assassinated and because Antony couldn't fucking hold his shit together in the Middle East. I didn't do anything wrong. So yeah, I fucking was that bitch. That I am the most famous and talked about woman in all of human history still 2,000 years later. But now I just hope that when you think about me, you focus on my intelligence as a strong and thorough leader and not just like my titties.